Hello, and welcome back to our tutorial series on Evochron Mercenary, the freeform space simulator. My name is Marlo, and last time when we left off, we had talked about our HUD display and what all this information on the screen means, and we talked about basic flight controls. But as the video was uploading, it occurred to me that there was a very important button and function of your ship that I forgot to talk about, and that is the Afterburner. So this video is going to be pretty short, maybe just 15 minutes or so, to tell you about the Afterburner. And then when I upload the next video, we'll pick back up where we were going to go with these videos, and that is navigation and jump drive usage. So, how does the Afterburner work? Well, the first thing we should do is give ourselves a little forward momentum. So, we've got our IDS on right now, and it doesn't have us going very fast. Let's bump that up just a little bit. Okay. Now, the Afterburner is the tab key by default, and if you, it will speed you up. It'll increase your velocity as long as you hold the tab key down. So I'm going to push it right now, and if you watch the velocity meter in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see it just keeps going up as long as I hold it down. Now, when I let go of the button, and it does use your fuel pretty heavily, so you have to watch that. But when I let go of the button, the IDS system uses the ship's thrusters to slow us back down to wherever it is that we have our velocity set. And remember, if you use the 7 and 9 keys on your number pad, or any other keys that you assign if you have a keyboard that doesn't have a number pad, then you can change the IDS multiplier and change your speed at any given percentage of your throttle. So, and the Afterburner will just take you up, from there. And when you let off, your thrusters will bring you back down to the velocity that's set in IDS. So, let's slow the ship back down a little bit. Now, what if we are in inertial mode? What does the Afterburner do then? Well, I'm going to hit the space bar to take us into inertial mode. And we are in inertial, and you can see the blue rectangle not moving, which indicates that's our direction of travel. So we're in inertial mode. Now, if I hit the tab key now, watch the velocity indicator. Right now it says 668. But watch the velocity indicator when I hit the tab key. It's going to go up just as fast as it did before. But when I let off, we're going to continue to coast at the speed where I release the tab button and release the Afterburner button. So now we're going 1668 meters per second. The Afterburner is extremely useful in inertial flight to change your course, to set the velocity you'd like to be traveling. And the nice part about it is that we're not using fuel right now because we're coasting. We've got Sir Isaac Newton in the driver's seat. So how would you use your Afterburner to change course? Well, let's turn the ship so that we're no longer traveling in the direction that we're facing. And let's say that we want to, adjust our ship's heading. Well, we've adjusted our facing, but of course we're still kind of sliding, relatively speaking, back into the left. Now, if we want to get our ship moving in the direction that we're facing, the Afterburner will help us do that. Now, you could do it with just the Afterburner, but I find it to be easier and faster to use the Afterburner in combination with your strafing keys, so W, A, S, and D. And in that way, you can adjust your heading and velocity a lot easier. And we're going pretty fast. Now, I've got a little too fast probably right now. I've got, I don't think these keys are the default, but I've got throttle up and down for inertial mode set to X and Z respectively. I don't recall what their setting is in the default keyboard setup. But if you're in inertial mode and the way I've got it set up, and you press Z or whatever your reverse thrust is, you can slow the ship down. Now, a great way to slow the ship down when you are in inertial mode is to hit the space bar and go back into IDS, and your ship's thrusters will automatically take over and slow you down, or speed you up, I suppose, but it's going to take you to that set speed. So, what do I do? Well, the way I usually use IDS, and I'm going to stop the ship here using IDS, is my personal preference is to fly around the galaxy on inertial flight mode. So what I do is I set my IDS at 0 by going into IDS mode and hitting the backspace key, which brings your set speed to 0. So that's how I typically keep it. And then I almost always fly around in inertial mode. So when I get ready to start moving, I will... just going to level us out here a little bit. When I get ready to start moving, I'll use the Afterburner key to get me up to some, decent velocity. Usually between 1,000 and 2,000 meters per second. It just kind of depends on the situation. Certainly that's a good speed range for combat, which we'll be going over the basics of combat several videos from now. But now let's say that I need to stop relatively quickly. The way I've got it set up, as soon as I hit the space bar, the IDS system is going to use the ship's thrusters to slow us down to 0 as quickly as the thrusters possibly can. Now when you get stronger thrusters, I think they can do it, they go a little faster. But right now we just have the starting ship with all the very basic equipment, so it is what it is. But I use the space bar kind of as my emergency brake. Now you don't have to do that. A lot of players fly around in IDS mode and switch to inertial mode if they go into combat or in other situations. Some players fly in inertial mode all the time and never use IDS. I'm sure that there are players who use IDS and rarely, if ever, use inertial mode. You can do it however you want to, but I've tried to explain how both of these systems work and how they can work together. So my personal preference is to fly around in inertial and use IDS as my brake, as my braking system. And, that's just the way I like to play the game. And in fact, I should say that as we proceed through these tutorials, unless I tell you otherwise, I'm probably going to be in inertial flight mode, just kind of as a general rule. So, alright, well, I think we're going to wrap up the video here. I just wanted to go over the basics of the Afterburner. Remember, it does use your fuel relatively quickly. I find it to be a little more fuel efficient when you're in inertial mode because you don't continue to burn fuel once you take your finger off the button. You just are coasting at that particular velocity. But it does use fuel rather quickly, so it's something to keep in mind. Oh, there's one other thing I should tell you about the Afterburner. While we're sitting here at a dead stop, if I tap on the tab key, it nudges the ship forward a little bit at a time. And as soon as I take my finger off the button, the IDS, which is set at 0, uses the thrusters to bring the ship back to a stop. This can be very useful when we're using the mining beam or tractor beam to perform some mission or other, and we need to just get just a little bit closer to that asteroid or to that cargo container. This is a great way to do it without overshooting it or crashing into it. So just a nice little tip there on a way that I like to use the Afterburner is just to nudge myself forward just a little bit. So, alright folks, we're going to cut the video here, and when we come back, we will go back to the original plan, which is to talk about the jump drive system and how to use the navigational map in the game, because those two things really go hand in hand. You don't often use one without using the other. So, until then, I hope you're doing well, hope you continue to do well, and I will talk to you in the next one.